In the dark shadows of war, when hope seemed completely lost and defeat was almost certain, one man stood against the tide of despair, a general whose courage, intelligence, and bold decisions would change everything overnight. This is the story of a defeat that transformed into an unforgettable victory, not over months or years, but in a single night that rewrote history forever. The battlefield was silent, yet heavy with tension. Soldiers were exhausted, wounded, and demoralized. The enemy had the upper hand, more troops, better weapons, and stronger positioning. Reports from the front lines painted a grim picture. Retreat was inevitable. The army had lost nearly everything, and whispers of surrender began to spread. But the general refused to accept defeat. While others saw the end, he saw an opportunity hidden within chaos. As night fell, the camp grew quieter, but inside the general's tent, a storm of ideas was forming. Maps were spread across the table, candles flickered, and his eyes scanned every inch of the terrain. He realized something others had overlooked, a narrow, dangerous path through the mountains that could lead his army behind enemy lines. It was risky, almost suicidal, but it was their only chance. This bold strategy would either destroy them completely or give them a miraculous turnaround. Without wasting time, he gathered his most trusted officers and shared his plan. Many were shocked, some hesitant, but the general's confidence was unshakable. His voice carried strength, his words ignited a spark in the hearts of tired soldiers. He reminded them that history is not written by those who surrender, but by those who fight until the very last moment. Inspired by his leadership, the army prepared for one final, desperate move. Under the cover of darkness, the soldiers began their silent march through the treacherous mountain path. Every step was filled with danger, loose rocks, steep cliffs, and the constant fear of being discovered. But they pressed on, driven by hope and the belief in their leader. Hours passed, and just before dawn, they reached the enemy's rear, completely unnoticed. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. As the first light of morning touched the battlefield, the general gave the signal. The army launched a sudden and powerful surprise attack from behind. The enemy, caught completely off guard, was thrown into chaos. Confusion spread through their ranks as they struggled to understand how a defeated army had appeared where they least expected. The momentum shifted instantly. The soldiers who had once been on the brink of surrender now fought with unmatched courage and determination. Their spirits were reignited, their fear replaced by fierce energy. The enemy lines began to collapse, one after another. What seemed impossible just hours ago was now unfolding before everyone's eyes, a complete and overwhelming victory. By the time the sun fully rose, the battlefield had transformed. The same ground that echoed with despair now celebrated triumph. The general stood silently, watching his soldiers, no longer defeated, but victorious beyond belief. His daring decision, his willingness to take a risk when all hope was lost, had changed everything. But the true power of this story lies not just in the victory itself, but in the lesson it leaves behind. Sometimes, life puts us in moments where everything feels lost, where defeat seems certain, and giving up feels like the only option. But just like that general, the difference between failure and success often lies in one bold decision, one fearless step into the unknown. It's in those darkest nights that the greatest victories are born. So remember this, even when you feel defeated, even when the world turns against you, there is always a chance for a turnaround. All it takes is courage, belief, and the strength to keep moving forward when everything tells you to stop. Because sometimes, victory is just one brave decision away.